Hello, 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 hello. How are you? I hope you're doing fantastically well. Thank you for joining me for another small business selling skills session. Try to get as many S's in there as possible. I said I'm going to try to do these most days at noon. I'm pretty excited. This is 2 days in a row. So we're moving forward, which is great. One thing I should say as well is we first started doing these at the beginning of the self-isolation back in March. We have a bunch of week-long series that we did around specific sales skills, all kinds of good stuff like that. So if you want to check those out, please go to our YouTube channel. Here's the address. I popped that down on the bottom. And hey, I always forget to do this, but tell me where you're coming at us from today. What part of the city, state, country, world that you're in. Just throw that down in the comments below just so we know where people are from. It also lets me know that our systems are working because, of course, on my screen, it's not showing us the LinkedIn stream is working. I hope it is, but every day is kind of a bit of an adventure. So hopefully this will be working. Anyways, every day I want to come at you with a short sales skill, a tactic or a strategy that you can use. Today I want to talk about tactics, and I specifically want to share an important tactic that you can use when you're looking at driving some urgency with your prospects in your sales conversations. And here's the idea. You always want to think about who is the most important competitor that you are competing with for your prospects' time, attention, and of course, dollars. Now, it's very normal for when I ask this question for somebody to think about their big competitor. You know, the big company, kind of the big company in their field, kind of the 900-pound gorilla. But what I've actually found is that for most people, that's not the right answer. For most businesses, especially for most small business owners, for most solopreneurs, the answer to who's your biggest competitor is the status quo. It's actually in the prospect not doing anything. And so what happens is you might be thinking that, hey, I need to sell against company X, company Y, when really what you're kind of competing against is your prospect's own tendency to do nothing. And if you don't know about your prospect's tendency to do nothing, think about yourself. It can be very hard for us to sometimes make a decision, put a plan into action, and actually accomplish something. And it's the exact same thing when your prospects are thinking about buying from you, especially a product or service that they might not have bought before. What happens is they're like, hey, I'm not sure if this is going to work. I'm not sure if this is going to be successful. And hey, it's a lot harder to get angry at myself, or if I have to talk to my other stakeholders in my organization, it's hard to get blamed for something that doesn't work if I actually didn't do anything to begin with, right? And so that's why a lot of times you'll find that your real competition, again, is just the tendency to not do anything. Like they get some quotes, they get a proposal, and then they decide, we're not going to, take action on that. Or you've seen this, for example, even maybe when people have been interviewing for a position, and then it turns out that the company's like, we just decided to wrap those responsibilities into another role. Why bother hiring somebody else? So that competitor has to be in your mind. So how do you actually deal with that? Well, here's a couple ways that you can manage the status quo competition. First of all, is make sure that you do address that. You can address it even before you get to the closing section of your conversation, the time when you're going to ask for the business. And the way you can ask that, even right up front in the discovery phase, when you're trying to find out what's the prospect is looking for, et cetera, is just ask them a simple question. Why is this important now? Like, actually ask people, why are you looking to do X now? Why are you looking to bring on this support? Why are you looking to work with this kind of professional? Why are you looking to add this product? Whatever you're selling, why are you looking to do it now? What you'll find sometimes is you might get the answer, well, we already are doing it. We're just looking maybe to save some money, or we're not happy with our current provider. Okay, great. So in that case, you're not going against the status quo. But a lot of times people will say like, it's just getting a little too inefficient around here, or we think there's an opportunity for our company to grow, or whatever it might be. When they tell you that, make sure you either take that note physically or put it in the back of your mind, because that's really the hook that you're going to use in the further conversation. When they tell you this is why we're looking at actually having and having the opportunity to work with you. Okay. So that's the first thing, is we need to get that right up front. And the second thing then is when we look at kind of asking for the business and trying to like give people a reason to act, there's this idea of creating urgency in your conversations. A lot of times we think about creating urgency as saying, hey, you've got to act by this time, or I'm not going to give you this price, or I'll throw this extra thing in for you if you act right away. If you don't think that's important, go watch a late night infomercial. That's why they have, hey, I'll double, the amount of special soap you get if you order in the next 20 minutes. They're trying to get past that inertia that a lot of prospects feel. So how do you get people past that inertia without saying, hey, I'm going to give you a 20% discount if you buy right now? Well, what you do is you help them paint a picture of what's going to happen if they do work with you, or they do take some forward action, and what's going to happen if they don't do anything. And it's a really simple question. And I'll often ask this, especially if I'm talking to, for example, coaching clients, or even if there's a training client that's thinking of bringing me in to train their team. And I'll ask, let's go 6 months in the future, and just imagine we're 6 months in the future. We end up working together. What does that look like? And so what I'm actually having them do is kind of picture in their mind, hey, they worked with me. I said, as a coach, I came and did this training, and I'm like, everything went great. What does that look like? And they start to paint the picture. Well, hey, we're going to have increases in this. This is going to be easier. This is going to be better. Again, whatever it is for you. And then I'll ask, let's go 6 months in the future, and let's pretend we don't work together and you don't do any of this. What will that look like? And quite often what people will go is they'll say, I don't know, I guess it'll be like it is now. Perfect. Because now they've kind of hooked into the idea of like, if I don't take action, it's going to stay the same. And then you go back to what they said in the beginning about why they're having this conversation with you in the first place. You're like, hey, if things stay the same, you're going to be having the same problems. So our goal is help move you past those, right? And so now you have some, for lack of a way of saying it, some ammunition, some material that you can use in having a conversation about why people should act now. So then if they're like, well, we're still thinking about it, you say, totally okay. But remember, you want to have this conversation because you don't want to be stuck in the same place you are now. We want to make sure that in 6 months you've moved forward, and then list off those ideas that they told you about what would happen if you worked together and they were successful. So that's a way to actually build some urgency without kind of setting a deadline. And there's times and places for that, but a lot of times it's just really helping them work through their own reticence towards action, right? Again, it's hard sometimes to get past our own inertia. And that's really one of the main jobs in a sales conversation, is to help influence them to give them that momentum and that confidence to move forward. So that is your tactic, your tool, your tip for today. Go ahead and put that into practice this week in one of your conversations. One thing I do want to let people know is, if you are a small business person, if you're a solo professional, a freelancer, solo consultant, an entrepreneur, if you're having to sell, but you're not necessarily a born salesperson, you want to build your sales skills. One of the things that I do have is a group that meets a couple times a month that is focused on helping its members develop their sales, marketing, and networking skills to bring more business in, to do it in a way that's a lot less stressful, that's very natural and authentic, but also brings business in. So I wanted to at least throw that out there to everybody. You might not be in a situation where you need that, but if you know somebody who, again, is a small business person, solo professional, and they're maybe struggling a little bit to get clients, maybe they had a big client that because of the pandemic has kind of not, disappeared, or they're not doing as much business together, or maybe they lost their job and they're going to go pursue their passion for the job that they've always wanted to do, but then they're realizing they have to figure out how to sell it. That's a perfect candidate for this group. We've got a great community already. Instead, I'm trying to grow that. So I've put the link up there. It's called the Selling Launchpad, and it's a great resource. So if you or some of you know could use this help and the support to grow your business, please check it out. And as always, if there's anything I can do to be of service, all you have to do, reach out, ping me on LinkedIn here. More than happy to help. And with that, thank you so much. And by the way, thank you for all the people who are watching this on the recording on our YouTube channel. Again, for everybody, you can always check out all of our courses at our YouTube channel. And besides that, everybody have a fantastic day. See ya.